Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and here we have it. These are the top 10 favorite fragrances for the winter of 2015 going into 2016, and this is going to be my niche list. I just want to start things off by apologizing. I know we're in the month of March, and I did not get the chance to get around to recording this video until now, just because I had a lot of other videos to record. As you can tell from those who have been following my channel, there really hasn't been any shortage of content. It's just that I had so many videos to put out that it took me a while to get around to this one, but here it is. This is my list. These are fragrances that I have been wearing a lot. These are fragrances that I was craving to wearing a lot, and this is a personal list. These are just my favorite scents. So of course this might vary from a list that you might find in GQ magazine, or maybe one on an online fragrance forum or whatnot. So these are fragrances that I have in my collection that I loved wearing a lot this season, and I've limited it to 10. So with that being said, without further ado, let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and get into the list. So I want to start things off with my number 10, and my number 10 is actually a fragrance that was on my list last year. It was actually number 1 on my list last year. Yes, it did indeed get dethroned. It's not that I've fallen out of love with it, it's just that I haven't worn it as much this year, but when I did wear it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is a very sort of mature scent in the way that it carries itself, not in its use of notes. So I'm not saying it smells like an 80s powerhouse or something like that, but it's just a sophisticated scent. This one is by Eau d'Italie, and it's called Bois d'Ombrie, which means Umbrian woods. And this is a tobacco and wood-based fragrance, and it's a very leafy sort of pipe tobacco scent, and I just think it conveys an air of maturity about it. And it's not a scent that is too likable, and I say that in the sense that I don't think a lot of people are going to love it and appreciate it at first sniff. It is an acquired taste, but it's such a great scent and a beautiful composition by one of my favorite perfumers, Bertrand Duchaufour. My number 9 scent on this list is one that, yet another one that I haven't really gotten around to wearing as much, but when I had, it just, oh my god, it reawakened that love and that passion that I had for this scent. And this is probably my favorite scent from this house. It's a little bit darker, more resinous, and it even has a note of honey. And this one is by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and it's called Absolu pour le soir. And this is, it's signed by the master Francis Kurkdjian himself. This is when I had the pleasure of meeting him a few years ago, and what a lovely scent. I mean, it is a little animalistic, so again, it's one that I would caution one against blind buying it, just because you really don't know how it's going to react on your skin and whether or not you're going to like it, but it does certainly happen to be one of my favorites. Number 8 on my list is a fragrance that I actually received from a very good friend of mine, Anita. So once again, I want to thank you very much for purchasing this for me. It's a wonderful scent. It has the note of rose, it has some sweet qualities about a little vanilla, some sweet resins, maybe even perhaps a little bit of labdanum, and it even has a unique papyrus note, which lends comparisons to Santal 33 by Le Labo, except this one is a little more exotic and more sensual, and it's by Kilian. This is the Fabergé Russian exclusive, and it's called Criminal of Love. What a wonderful scent, perfect for a date, perfect for a night out, very exotic and sensual. Number 7 on my list is yet another favorite of mine. I wear this one when I crave a sweet tooth, and there's just something about this opening that's very hypnotizing and mesmerizing. It's from the House of Xerjoff. It's part of their Join the Club collection, and it's called More Than Words. This one bears a lot of patchouli, but also labdanum, which is a resin that's a little bit sweeter than benzoin and galbanum and some other resins that are contained in fragrances. This one, it also has a bit of sort of like an exotic smell to it. There's also an Armani fragrance from their Privé line that does smell similar to this one. This one I like because it's affordable. It's about, well, affordable considering the materials used and the price that these types of fragrances usually go for. So this one is $230, which is still pretty expensive. It's very expensive, as a matter of fact, but compared to, say, Spice and Wood by Creed, which goes for like, I don't know, $600 and something, I mean, it's a fraction of that price. The next one on my list is one of the most versatile fragrances. It's definitely the most versatile fragrance in this list. It's one that I actually received as a wedding gift from my wife. I just got married last November, and I have been wearing this one a lot. This is my 2nd bottle, already put a dent in it. One of my favorite fragrances of all time. It's by Creed, and it's called Aventus. I'm sure no one out there is a stranger to this scent. I've already worn a significant amount of it. It's one of my favorite scents of all time, and I wear it all year long, and I've definitely been wearing it a lot. I even brought it with me on my honeymoon, and I wore it every other day, especially when we went out to dinner. The next fragrance on my list is a newer acquisition of mine, and this one, it was a successful blind buy, and I'm really happy to say that. And I saw a couple of videos online that my good friend Sai made a video on this one. My friend Maximilian Husler made a video on this one, and it piqued my interest, and I ended up committing myself to buying a bottle of it, and it confirmed my suspicions that it was going to be a great scent. Absolutely love it. Really high up in this list, so I'm really happy to have a bottle of it in my collection. It's by Tiziana Terenzi, and it's called Lillipore. This fragrance is like a niche version of D Squared's Potion. So if you're familiar with that scent, it's an unique Monardo composition that has cinnamon, it has some sweet resins, and it has a woodsy accord to it too. It's same exact thing going on in here. You have the sweetness, you have a honey note, you have a cinnamon note. It's just gorgeous, and it's such a great scent to wear in the winter, especially when you want to wear something that's a little bit different from other scents. Fantastic scent, love having it in my collection. So we're getting into the top 4 now, and they're all heavy hitters, I promise you. And the number 4 fragrance on my list is one of my favorites of all time. I'm surprised it took me a while to getting around to purchasing a bottle of this, but I did, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's by Parfums de Marly, and it's called Herod. This is a beautiful sort of sweet vanilla tobacco scent. I know it received some comparisons to Thierry Mugler's Angel Men Pure Havane. People have even compared it to Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. I definitely see the comparisons, but it's its own fragrance, and what a beautiful fragrance it is. I mean, really, it took me a while to getting around to purchasing it, but I couldn't be happier to finally have it in my collection. I wore it a whole lot this winter, and believe it or not, I even got a few compliments from it. So it seems as though it's going to be a polarizing fragrance, but there's something about it that lets people gravitate towards you when you're wearing it. Absolutely love it. Number 4 on my list. And getting into the top 3, the number 3 fragrance on my list is one that I purchased a while ago, and it's one that I don't wear so much. I like to dub the term Colognes. This is one of my Colognes fragrances because I wear it when I'm at home. Because this is a very daring composition, and I'm having a really hard time finding the right occasion to wear this in, but nonetheless, it's still one of my favorite scents. I love the smell, and I guess the reason why I sort of stay away from it is because it is a little bit smoky and incensey and resinous and harsh, and for that reason, a lot of people don't like it. I'm in the pool of people who thoroughly enjoy it. It's by Amouage, and it's called Interlude Man. So this has some spicy, smoky resins. It has some other notes in here that make it evocative of not just incense, because a lot of fragrances contain incense, but burning incense. So you're not just smelling the incense note itself, but you're also smelling the smoke and the resins, and it dries down to this sort of benzoin, spicy yet sweet accord. It's such a beautiful scent. One of my favorites of all time. Now getting into my top 2, my number 2 fragrance is actually my favorite tobacco scent ever. And this is a fragrance that I had smelled initially, and I fell in love with it. And then when I saw that my good friend Freddie was selling his bottle of it, I knew that I had to get my hands on it. And I have worn it so often and so frequently. And I just absolutely love the state of mind that it puts me in. And it's by Roja Parfums, and it's called Creation E, better known as Enigma. And this is a beautiful, animalistic, spicy, tobacco, sweet, boozy, cognac, whiskey sort of a scent. Such class. I mean, this is one that words will not do justice. You really have to try this one out for yourself. And getting into my number 1 pick, this is one of my favorite fragrances of all time, along with Interlude Man and Creed Aventus. It's just a fragrance that I wear so often, and I wear this one everywhere. My wife does not like this one, so I do definitely have to mention that. But despite that fact, I love it so much that I wear it, no matter what other people might think of it. And this is a very dark, mysterious, and gothic composition, but I love the dry down, how it has this sort of spicy vanilla. And to me, it actually reminds me of a Black and Mild cigar. Not that I do that, but it does remind me of that, and I think it's a really nice smell. It opens up with a strong note of lavender, and it seems as though the notes would conflict with one another, but the blend is so good. And it's composed by Francis Kurkdjian, is part of the Privé line in the Dior collection, and it's called Eau Noire. Unfortunately, this is a discontinued fragrance, and even those who have had the opportunity to try this one, sample it, purchase it, there are a lot of people who don't like this one just because it is one of the more challenging fragrances out there. But I think the winter, and I know the winter, is the best time to wear this fragrance. It actually happens to be one of my favorite fragrances, composed by one of my favorite perfumers along with Bertrand Duchaufour. This one is actually composed by Francis Kurkdjian. I've been wearing it a lot, and I'm trying to be conservative with it because it's discontinued, but still, it hasn't stopped me. So nevertheless, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. These have been my top 10 favorite fragrances for the winter of 2015 going into 2016, and this has been my niche list. Once again, I do apologize for getting this out there a little bit later, but it's a more honest list as a result of that, because I can accurately reflect back and look upon which fragrances did I actually wear in the winter, and these are the 10 that I wore the most and that I have enjoyed the most in the winter of 2015-2016. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have tried any of these scents, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you and reply to your comment. And also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos, top 10s, frequent giveaways, unboxings, reviews, and a lot of other fragrance related content. So with that being said, thanks again. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.